Have you ever wondered why certain encounters change everything? Why some coincidences feel like messages written just for you? What if I told you that nothing is random? That life is constantly speaking to you, just waiting for you to finally learn how to listen. Life is symbolic. That's the starting point that C.G. Jung left us as a living legacy. It's not an exaggeration to say that every detail, every repetition, every little shock or synchronicity carries a message for the one who has eyes to see. Jung called this synchronicity. Events that seem unrelated by cause, but come together in a meaningful way, revealing that there's something bigger weaving the fabric of our reality. You know when you think of someone and suddenly they call you? Or when you stumble across a book that speaks directly to the struggle tormenting it? Jung didn't see this as simple coincidence, but as keys of synchronicity, small cracks in the fabric of the real world, showing that the collective unconscious is breathing through us. And here's where it gets deeper. If life is symbolic, then so are you. There is no single, fixed version of you that repeats itself day after day. There are countless versions of you, revealing themselves with every experience, every test, every encounter that life puts in your path. And the more you ignore the signs, the louder life screams. How many times have you felt stuck in a loop, repeating patterns you can't figure out why they keep coming back? Maybe it's because you haven't yet deciphered the symbol behind the experience. Life is a teacher. It teaches again, and if needed, repeats the lesson until you learn it. But what happens when we stop learning? When we close our eyes to what needs to be seen? Jung knew, when you refuse to grow, the universe finds a way to push you. And many times, that push hurts. Think about Jung's patient who dreamed about a scarab. During a session, as she was telling him about her dream, a real beetle, exactly like the one in her dream, tapped on the window. In that moment, everything stopped. The symbol moved from the invisible to the visible. It was as if the unconscious said, "Here's the key. Are you ready to open the door?" How many scarabs have you ignored in your own life? Maybe you're going through a tough moment right now, and it's hard to hear this, but every difficulty carries a question. Are you going to sleepwalk through this? Or will you ask life what you're supposed to learn? I know it's easier to run, to blame others, to blame luck. But life is not your enemy. It's rooting for your growth. Even when it hurts, even when it feels unfair. And if you doubt that, remember Lucia. She was always complaining about not having enough time, about her busy life, her exhausted body. Until one day, a health scare forced her to stop completely. Alone in the hospital, she finally understood. Life had been screaming at her to listen to her own body, to look within, to respect her limits. And you, are you listening? The truth is, no one grows alone. Other people's experiences help us decode our own symbols. Jung said that when we hear someone else's story of synchronicity, our unconscious opens up to recognize our own. It's like a chain reaction of awakening. So, never underestimate the power of a good story. It might be the key you need. Maybe today is the day you stop treating life like an accident. Maybe it's time to see each coincidence as a message, every difficulty as a teacher, each version of yourself as a step. Because life doesn't want to punish you. It wants to see you evolve. Want to keep this journey going with me? Then take a moment to subscribe to this channel, hit that bell icon, and share this video with someone who needs to open their eyes to the symbols around them. You never know what scarab might tap on the window of the person who needs this message today. Let's keep the flow, diving deeper into the symbolic nature of life, how we resist learning, and how synchronicities can guide us. All with the same immersive tone. Sometimes, we get so caught up in our daily struggles that we forget how much life wants us to grow. We believe our problems are punishment when, so often, they're invitations. Invitations to pause, to see the pattern, to ask, what does this mean? Jung saw life as a dialogue, a living conversation between our conscious mind and the hidden layers of our soul. When we ignore this conversation, life has no choice but to get louder. A lost job, a betrayal, an illness. These moments feel cruel on the surface, but beneath them, life is whispering. Will you finally listen? Will you finally wake up? The truth is, no teacher is more relentless than a lesson unlearned. If you resist the symbol once, it will return in another form. If you run from the truth, it will chase you down in unexpected ways. Life is never trying to destroy you. It's trying to break what holds you back. Do you remember the version of you from 5 years ago? 10 years ago? If you look closely, you'll see that you're not the same. The old you died 1,000 small deaths to give birth to the person you are now. And yet, parts of you still cling to what feels familiar. We fear letting go because we mistake comfort for safety. But sometimes, the only safe thing to do is to leap. There's something magical about asking life questions. It's like knocking on a door you didn't know existed. When you're going through difficulty, don't just ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this teaching me? What part of me is ready to grow? What pattern is ready to break?" These questions don't erase your pain, but they transform it into wisdom. I want you to imagine your life as a giant tapestry. Threads weaving in and out, knots you can't see, colors you didn't expect. Each synchronicity is a glimpse of that hidden pattern. It's proof you're not alone in your weaving. There's something bigger, older, more loving, guiding your hand, waiting for you to trust the process. Some people will hear all this and roll their eyes. They'll call it just coincidence. Let them. You don't need everyone to believe in your path. What matters is that you learn to read the signs that speak to you. Because once you start listening, you can't unhear the truth. Life is alive. It wants to grow you. And when you grow the world around you. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you saw a sign? Maybe it was a repeating number, a line from a book, a song that played at just the right moment. What did you do with it? Did you brush it off? Or did you pause and say, "Okay, I'm listening"? The universe is patient, but you don't have forever to stay asleep. The sooner you wake up, the sooner you get to live fully alive. We are all Lucia sometimes, running on empty until life forces us to stop. We are all Jung's patient, seeing the scarab in our dreams and needing it to knock on the window before we take it seriously. You don't have to wait for life to hit you hard. You can learn now. You can choose to see what needs to be seen. And when you do, the fear begins to fade. So, today, take this as your sign. Maybe it's time to open the door you've been ignoring. Maybe it's time to trust the pattern that's been there all along. Maybe it's time to stop being surprised by the messages and start living like they read your compass. If this message resonates with you, take one small step, subscribe to this channel. Now, share it with someone whose soul needs a wake-up call and drop a comment below telling me, what sign has life sent you recently? Let's open our eyes together. There comes a moment on every journey when you realize you are not who you used to be, but you are also not yet who you are becoming. It's an uncomfortable place, the in-between. Jung believed this space is where real transformation happens. It's the sacred tension between the version of you that clings to old patterns and the version of you ready to bloom. It's no wonder we resist it. Growth feels like death to the parts of us that are used to surviving. Sometimes, we stay stuck because we don't trust what's on the other side of change. We fear losing people, losing certainty, losing the story we've told ourselves about who we are. But what if losing is exactly what makes space for the new? Think about this. If life is symbolic, every loss is also a lesson. Every ending is a doorway. You've probably heard people say, everything happens for a reason. But it's deeper than that. It's not just about reasons. Every struggle reveals something hidden in you. Every closed door shows you where you're still holding tight to what's expired. I've heard so many stories of people who found their true selves in the middle of what felt like chaos. Like the friend who got fired and thought it was the end, but it was the push they needed to start a business that now feeds their soul. Or the woman who spent years in a relationship that dimmed her light, only to wake up one day and see that her leaving didn't break her. What if your difficulty right now is not punishment, but preparation? What if what feels like falling apart is life rearranging you into someone who can handle the dreams you've been too scared to claim? Jung said the unconscious is always trying to bring you into wholeness. But wholeness isn't perfection. It's you making peace with every version of you. The brave parts, the scared parts, the broken parts, the hopeful parts. So how do you listen when life speaks? How do you recognize the signs? First, you have to slow down. In a world addicted to distraction, silence is radical. Make space for the symbols to appear. Journal your dreams. Write down the coincidences that keep repeating. Ask questions. The more curious you are, the more the universe responds. When Jung's patient dreamed of the scarab, it was not random. The scarab was an ancient symbol of rebirth. The fact that the insect appeared at the window was a physical confirmation that her soul was ready to transform. What would happen if you saw your scarabs that way? The repeating numbers, the chance encounters, the song you keep hearing. They are not entertainment. They are conversation starters with your soul. Sometimes, we need to borrow the courage of others to interpret our own signs. That's why hearing other people's stories helps so much. When you hear how someone else connected the dots, your mind opens. You begin to ask, what is life trying to show me? That question changes everything. I want you to imagine the version of you who stops ignoring the messages, who stops pretending not to know, who looks at difficulty and says, "Thank you for this lesson. I am willing to see." That version of you exists. It's waiting for you to believe you deserve to grow. The truth is, you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to stay open. Life will teach you. Synchronicity will surprise you. The right people will show up when you are brave enough to let go of the wrong ones. The right ideas will land when you clear space from the noise. But you have to trust the process, even when you don't understand it. And maybe that's the hardest part, trusting what you can't yet see. But what's the alternative? Staying stuck in cycles that keep you small. You're here now because part of you is ready to stop pretending. So take a breath. Place your hand on your heart and remind yourself, life is for me, not against me. Every symbol, every coincidence, every loss, every gain, all of it is here to wake me up. Let this be the moment you decide you're done being half awake. Let this be the season you learn the language of your own soul. If this is speaking to you, stay with us. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Share it with a friend who's ready to see life's symbols too. And drop a comment below. What sign has shown up for you this week? Let's keep each other awake. The journey is better when we walk it together. Sometimes we wait for a sign so obvious that it hits us like a thunderstorm. But the truth is, life is whispering all the time. In small symbols, quiet nudges, gentle reminders that your soul came here to grow. If you've listened this far, it means you're already awake to the fact that nothing is random. That every setback, every heartbreak, every synchronicity is a message. You're not alone. You're being guided. Jung believed that when you open your eyes to the symbolic nature of life, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become an active participant in your own becoming. You're no longer drifting. You're dancing with the mystery. You see meaning where others see chaos. You see patterns where others see coincidence. And that changes everything. There will still be days when you doubt. When you ask, why me? When you feel like the lessons repeat and you're too tired to keep learning. On those days, remember, the life you're building isn't just about you. Every breakthrough you have sends ripples out to others. Your courage to see the signs inspires someone else to look for theirs. Your willingness to grow teaches others it's possible. Maybe you're still carrying old stories that say you're not ready, that you're not smart enough, strong enough, spiritual enough to understand the symbols. Let that go. You don't need to be perfect to pay attention. You don't need to have all the answers to stay curious. You just need to ask better questions. What does this mean? What is this moment asking of me? When you start asking the right questions, the answers come. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the form you expect, but they come. The right people appear. The right words find you. The right signs cross your path again and again until you can't ignore them anymore. Think about the version of you a year from now. More awake, more trusting, more in tune with the symbolic language of life. That version of you doesn't force the river. They let life teach them. They know that not every closed door is a punishment. Sometimes it's protection. Not every delay is a denial. Sometimes it's a divine pause so you can grow roots before you bloom. And when things get tough, because they will, remember that life is not against you. The storm that feels like it is tearing you apart is sometimes washing away what you no longer need. The teacher who shows up in the form of a heartbreak, a mistake, or a lost opportunity is sometimes the greatest gift you'll ever receive. Look deeper. Ask life, what are you trying to show me? And listen, really listen. Some people will spend their whole lives asleep to these signs. They'll say, it's just chance. It's just coincidence. But you're different. You're here because you know the world is alive with meaning. You feel it in your bones that your life has a deeper purpose, and every moment, even the painful ones, is part of that bigger story. So today, make yourself a promise. I will stay awake. I will be humble enough to learn and brave enough to grow. And when you forget, because we all do, come back to this message. Remember that synchronicity is real, that you are guided, that you are never alone in this mystery. And please, don't keep this journey to yourself. The more we share our stories, the more awake we all become. So, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Send this video to someone who needs to remember that life is symbolic, meaningful, and always rooting for our growth. And now, tell me below in the comments. Where in the world are you listening from? Let's see how far these ripples of synchronicity and self-awareness reach. Because together, we not just learning, we remembering what our souls have always known. That the life we reliving is full of signs, waiting for us to say, I see you, I'm listening, I'm ready.